pieces in order.
Well, we'll see exactly how it is going to work out. As you can see, we are into champion select already. LGD banning away the two big mid laners in Vladimir and Malzahar. Ashe is going to fall away from Uzi after that, as we've got Na and Syndra both banned from RNG. Started seeing Syndra bans against Wayless last week.
Yeah.
Looks to be continuing.
You have to take away Syndra, or at least if you're going to play against it, you have to have a plan against it, because Syndra's coming back, and it's coming back with a lot of force. If you are a proactive Syndra, you can build up those spheres, and if you get those 3 spheres running and rolling, you have to back away if you're the enemy team.
Most certainly do, and Wayless just plays so aggressively. Whatever he's using in the mid lane. Now LGD looking for their first pick as the Thresh was the final ban away from PYL, and it's going to be the Hecarim picked up for Intruder or for Marin if he decides to take it towards the top side. Yeah,
it's most likely going to be going to Intruder. I do like his Hecarim. You see some kind of cute things coming out of him with the Thunderlords on him. You just don't see Thunderlords on Hecarims at all, but now you're seeing it on Intruder, and it does help out their play. If he does play that Hecarim, he is going to be skirmishing quite early, going to be focusing topside and Marin specifically. So if you see LGD's Hecarims, it's not going to be so much farm. He's going to be looking to headbutt a few people.
Well, we'll see whether he can actually get that one done. As you can see, RNG thinking about taking away some picks from LGD. Of course, Imp, pretty fantastic Sivir player. Uzi as well, though, of course. And Looper going to steal away the Rumble from Marin. And both, like, I love it. Both of these AD carries and these top laners match up so incredibly well as far as their champion pools that it feels like a pick away, but also feels like a comfort pick.
It really, really does. I would not have recognized Rumble as a first-round pick unless between these two teams.
Yeah, right?
So now it's a call-out. What are you going to play against the Rumble? There is quite a few picks, I'm not going to lie. It does stand out to me as a pick. But Rumble does shove in. It is the RNG style. They do want their lanes constantly shoving in, and it does get hit by the Sivir and the Rumble. So that's RNG playing their style so far.
Yeah, and I like it. Having that on the hunt for the Rumble as well. Get yourself into position. Corral people into equalizers. Looper also fantastic at that positioning of the ultimate as well as his flanking plays with the teleport.
Yeah, but he has to watch out because generally speaking, Looper is a low econ top laner.
Yep.
Does not receive much, if any, attention or resources. So if you're playing that Rumble, you have to play it safe.
Oh my goodness, though. Look at LGD picking up the Alistar and the Shen. We've been talking about the Shen-Hecarim combination so much. Picking Alistar away from Mata. So far, LGD looks like the dream draft.
Yeah, it really does. This is amazing composition from LGD as the game goes on. Big point is as the game goes on, because early on in the game, you might get bullied if you're going up against Sivir as an Alistar.
Yeah, that's a good point.
As a Hecarim. So this is going to be interesting to see how they go for them.
Of course, LGD, we are on 6.14. LGD still a team to want a lane swap a heck of a lot of the time. As Imp has locked in Kog'Maw. We've seen Kog'Maw getting banned away a little bit. That new Wits End build actually helping him out towards that early game.
Yep.
And now Wayless thinking about going back to his Varus. Of course, the champion that he debuted on this year in the LPL.
So they have to watch out. The Kog'Maw, if he does lock in Varus, both of those picks get really demolished by Braum himself. So, don't do this to me, buddy. Marin, yeah, okay, there we go. Anyways, but yeah, Braum is a really great pick because, of course, it does solidify your bot lane strength as a whole. But, of course, if you're going up against Kog'Maw, or really most mid laners, you can really do a lot of good for your team in these fights.
Well, it isn't going to be the Varus. It's going to be the Lissandra locked in here for Wayless. And you can see there's a heck of a lot of CC coming out of LGD, relying on Imp for a lot of their damage. But the amount of peel that he will have in these fights is terrifying.
It's incredible so far. Really, the point is going to be in how they utilize these picks. A lot of proactive ways to use them, but at the same time, a lot of peel to go back and help out Imp. I do not want to see as much proactive. It really depends. This is so much on execution because if they do peel back, that Rumble can do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
That if they do go forward, that can really cause troubles for Rumble. But then, of course, Braum, Rek'Sai, and Sivir ulti in general can really do a lot of issue towards LGD too. So they're going to have to really do some theorizing Or just, you know, put it out in the Rift. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, exactly right. And maybe try and win it in the laning phase as Xiaohu goes back to his Karma in the mid lane. The massive speed-up composition is now coming in for RNG. Will mean that Lupa will have a lot of ability to get towards that backline, really get his Flame Spitter all across LGD. But we'll see whether it's going to be enough because, of course, Karma may fall off a little bit as far as damage is concerned towards the later stages. They do have a Sivir for that, though, and Rumble will scale okay at the same time. So RNG looking to set themselves up with what looks like a very aggressive move forward composition with a lot of fantastic disengage options.
You get Athene's on that Karma, you start peeling backwards, your late game seems fairly good. But of course, if you're going late game, you gotta watch out. You're going up against Kog'Maw, Hecarim, Lissandra. I do love what LGD is showing up, but RNG at the same time have the composition to surprise me. And they have the shove. That's all I really want from RNG, because they do quite well in allowing MLXG to invade and really show his force in the game.
Yeah, the win condition of give MLXG room to move, create a problem for Intruder, and use his Rek'Sai to keep the enemy team down. But the coaches are going to shake hands. Let's get into game number 1 of our final week of the LPL regular season. Thank you very much, Marin. And here we are onto the Rift for game number 1 between LGD and RNG. LGD trying to keep their playoff hopes alive, and RNG trying to solidify their first position in this group. Already?
First place means so much for RNG, of course.
Oh, yeah.
If you remember last season, you get that first place spot, you're going straight to the semis.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
You don't have to play that extra match that you have to if you are that second position. Of course, third, fourth face off against each other from each group. Seeded sort of third in Group B face off against fourth in Group A, and vice versa.
Ooh.
And that second position does go into that next round of the gauntlet. To follow on will then be first as RNG now looking to try and get themselves settled here in the enemy jungle, moving towards the bottom side of the map.
Not the most deep invades. They just pretty much warded out to see if Kog'Maw and Alistar do move away from their lane. But if they go in the path that they're going for right now, then they have no idea.
Yeah, it looks like a blind lane swap actually issued by both teams. Didn't see any pings from LGD working out exactly where... Oh, they have actually spotted the bottom lane, and now Imp and POL moving towards the bot side, trying to dodge that 2v2.
The mind game's coming out here. I do like RNG's laning phase. So if they do end up getting the standard lanes, which doesn't seem to be happening here, then LGD's opening jungle start is fairly safe.
Well, Intruder has taken down his wolf camp. Mata just pokes his head in. Doesn't find himself a Shen as he wanders over some vision. And we'll see whether Marin can pick up any of these first 3 creeps. Looks like no is the answer, but we'll be able to get some of the experience.
So interesting start so far. We're actually seeing the top laners stick to their lanes rather than walking in, as Rumble is actually starting to walk in now. Fine.
Yeah, finally getting himself there as Marin actually deciding to stick around.
He's trying to just get a few XP until he really does get forced out, which is going to be difficult for RNG as they do have the Braum. Not a lot of range coming in to really harass him away from the experience range.
Yeah, well, Intruder already starting off on his red buff. And Marin's just doing his very best to try and get that Hecarim to his first few items. Of course, Hecarim a little bit more item reliant than other junglers. Might be why Marin's giving him some space.
Yeah, the extra experience for Hecarim and Shen could go a long way. He does have to watch out, though. If he does overstay his welcome, he is going to get dived.
Well, he's going to teleport towards the bottom side now. Has actually picked up level 2, so he's a level ahead of Lupa, despite the fact that he has 0 CS.
What are you doing? Okay.
Whoa!
Woo!
Yeah, it's always scary when they don't smite early. But still an intelligent decision to make. This tower taking some damage on the bottom side of the map. We'll see whether LGD is going to be able to take a lead in this lane swap. As Imp, the Reindeer Cogmore, adorable skin.
I love it.
He's going to be able to help take this one down.
The only real notable point is that Rumble he probably doesn't have as much XP as the Shen. Didn't expend the TP, so he did have to make the journey towards the top lane.
Yeah.
Perhaps RNG is going to give him the extra wave to kind of make it up, but he does have the TP on top of that. So going to be a good point to focus on for the next couple minutes to see if they utilize that TP advantage or if they just let it flat.
And once again, actually, Marin gave up a lot of the jungle to Intruder and also shared the local turret gold with Imp at the same time towards the bottom side of the map. So trying to get himself as close as he can to that first item purchase. Those double daggers now coming in for Imp, looking for his recurve bow to start things off.
I do not believe we saw a lane swap ward coming from LGD. So, of course, Rumble just completely shoving out until he notices the Kog'Maw, and then he's probably going to walk out. He has to, unless, of course, Rek'Sai is jungling towards him. He seems to be fine.
Imp is just tanking up minions, though. PWL does turn up. Triumphant Roar is going to help him get back up to health, but Imp being very aggressive on the Void Puppy. Marin will find himself back to base, grab his first purchase, and did get himself some extra CS, which is definitely good news.
So Rumble is falling a little bit behind, a tiny bit behind in terms of CS and just overall pace compared to the Shen. Shen did have the TP, so he's going to be looking to be fine just because of that, it seems.
Yeah, looking for that level 6 mark still, though. Level 4 to level 2, however. Very scary. Lupa going to, once again, help out taking down this turret. Same going to happen on the other side of the map. So it looks like gentleman's agreement. Outer turrets on both sides are going to fall, and we'll see where both of these teams go next. Of course, Cloud Drake is up. It's the buffed version, but may not necessarily have the amount of priority that other dragons would. We've actually got 4 people for LGD pushing this turret out on the top side of the map. Yeah,
they needed the extra shove. They weren't going to be able to do it quickly. Maybe RNG does fall behind because of that, because they now need the extra wave to shove. No, actually, both teams do need the extra wave. And it's a cannon creep, so they can end it on this point if they do have the extra shove. So that's fine for both teams. Honestly, even though initially I said the standard lanes are great for RNG, if they do break towers, it's also good for them just the same, because they do have the extra chase potential on the Karma and the Sivir.
And once again, Imp and Marin are going to share that turret gold. So the Shen, despite the added lead as far as experience, few extra CS is concerned, it's going to be Lupa grabbing that solo turret gold earlier on, which is going to really help him out. Intruder now spots MLXG and Mata, who are just stealing away camps from the LGD jungle, and you can see it's actually working out for MLXG, ahead by a few creeps.
More than just that, actually. They went in, did the RNG style, because they're a team that is so incredibly well at just putting down vision and really forcing you to challenge them on it, because they do have a nice deep pink ward in there, as well as a couple greens. So if they do see honestly, they can get a lot of cheap vision. The placement of the pink they have right now does mean a lot. In fact, they even sneaked a pink in the bush right behind Kog'Maw.
Yeah.
So a lot of TP flank opportunities if they arise. This is something I love from RNG. The amount of pinks that they expend early on in the game can give them a lot of play potential.
And also can give them a lot of, I guess, value for money at the same time.
Yeah.
There's Intruder running away from MLXG.
The only real risk you have is falling a little bit behind in terms of the initial damage. Maybe a jungler's like, well, I could get a health crystal. Or, you know, use the eyes thinking, I could get a longsword for this. But pink ward, just the same.
Yep, not too bad as Imp. Actually getting some damage down onto Mata here. Uzi doesn't suffer for it, however.
Now, this is a very scary situation for LGD. LGD, their team composition does rely on them scaling up. You know, getting to a point in which they can really start to dictate pace. But with the pink that they did not address, they did not catch that pink ward on the bottom side of the map, and the fact that RNG did match lanes, you have to watch out. We could see a TP play happening if and when loopers come.
Well, there's the headbutt pulverizers. Marta's getting taken down very low. Heal comes out early. Living Artillery doesn't find Marta for that last bullet, and they want to pick him up. Intruder grabs first blood, but RNG are now here. Nice triple knock up as Xiaohu turns up with a massive empowered Q, and Uzi now looking to take down PYL. He will do it as a Carthian surprise couldn't get anything done, and Intruder has to escape via the other exit. Frozen Tomb comes down.
It's not done yet.
United. MLXG burning to death, trying to tunnel away. Marin does have flash. We'll see whether he tries to lock down the jungler as Intruder. In a bit of trouble. Marin has himself the shield. Good smite comes down. Oh my goodness. So much damage as they trade kills. Uzi still alive, but not a lot of mana. And Xiaohu does a lot of burst at this stage of the game.
Now, key thing is Xiaohu was able to get there first. The numbers advantage coming from RNG really did tilt the advantage in their favor, though it was a great look from Intruder. He did come in for the early skirmish. It just did not work out that way. RNG was able to answer perfectly well on that. And of course, LGD thought they could get something out of it.
And it was a 5v4 as well. Of course, Marin made his way in. Looper didn't. Yeah. Only just now is his teleport back up. So he got himself a head in farm. We'll be able to possibly get towards the Proto Belt. On his next back, looks like that's the Revolver coming in, so only needs the Kindle Gem and the recipe.
Exactly. And another key point, too, is that UZI just dinged 6. So he was able to actually utilize his ulti.
Yep.
And so RNG were able to just be just that more mobile in the fight. Probably costed it for LGD as a team.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate, but now Imp does have himself his wit's end, so the first Cogmore power spike has come in. Now farming up this big wave and shoving in right towards his inner turret.
Oh, this could be really dangerous for LGD. So Kog'Maw is holding up a freeze, or if he's not, then that's a really long journey for him to take. So RNG could very much get a lot of damage on this mid tower.
And Wayless doesn't have his ultimate either as the Claw of Doom comes in just to try and clear out the wave. His tower is not going to fall on this one as Wayless avoids the damage of the Mantrid Inner Flame. RNG do back away.
That was a lot of free chip, though. You do that about 2 more times, that's the tower. So LGD do have to watch out. They lose their mid laner, they lose the pace of the game.
Yeah. I mean, that mid lane turret will really open up the map for this team, and especially one with so much mobility like RNG. Looks like MLXG tanking this dragon, but not going to be taking it, as Imp now has this wave moving out. Intruder on this bottom side, Phage in hand. I'm going to see what he can do. Just going to launch himself on top of these Krugs.
Yeah, and so the fun point really is that we do, or at least we have seen the buff come onto the Cloud Dragon.
Yep.
But with that being said, it seems like the tower focus is something we'll be seeing from both teams.
Yeah, and of course it does make sense for LGD, a team that likes to lane swap more than any other here in the LPL.
That being said, I don't think they should want to lane swap. I mean, you will have difficult lanes, sure, but you do want the experience. You do want the gold. So putting yourself in this situation is something they definitely shouldn't have wanted.
Well, right now, MLXG gets himself some vision in. We're going to try and steal away a Raptor. As Raptor Sense comes out. The ward going to be cleared there by Intruder as Imp having a little bit of a dance.
See, this is just impending doom right there. I love the fact that the Observer really pointed that out. That was there since the lane swap. And so it is always going to be relevant. That and the... Oh, I guess the other pink ward also just got cleared out, but you have to be on top of this because that can just cost you the game.
Goodness, Marin actually getting a lot of damage down onto Looper here. Scrap Shield's going to get him away, but lane dominance asserted here by the Shen. And RNG going to start off this dragon now with teleport available on their top lane.
All Rumble really wants is to have that lane shoved out. He doesn't want to go up against the Shen. You're not going to have a fun time, especially once the Shen does achieve Spirit Visage status. So he's just going to shove it in and hopefully look to TP or just rotate.
Yeah. Oh, Proto Belt done here for Looper. Used it to dash out of base. Like it. Wayless looking to clear things out here in the mid lane. I like that as well. The fact that they do have this Lissandra. A lot of on-hand wave clear. Relatively safe at the same time with that Glacial Path.
I do love the fact that Imp never realizes that this pink ward is there. And it's an option that RNG always have. They're going to be looking for those power spikes. Perhaps that Proto Belt was the power spike that Rumble needed to take this fight. So you're going to have to see if that's something that they prey on.
Yeah, Looper now with some free time here in this lane. Has shoved things out. Intruder looking to clear up his own jungle as the red buff is taken. And Uzi and Mata return to the mid lane to once again put pressure on Wayless. So far, apart from that early skirmish, nothing too much really happening as PWL does get himself a good double pulverize. There's the ultimate coming down from Mara, as Uzi flashes himself out. The ultimate's there. Mata with a massive triple ult, but in goes Intruder. Gets himself a fear, but he's underneath the turret. Good equalizer from Looper as he turns up, and Flame spitters the horse to death. Mara now looking to try and peel for his team, but it's not looking good.
Imp is in the fight.
Yeah, turns up. He's going to throw down the W. Wayless gets himself in there with the Frozen Tomb, but has to flash himself out. Marin now in trouble as he dashes himself under the turret and blocks for his mid lane. It's a 1-0 in favor of RNG now, and can they get the turret?
It's a miracle that LGD did not have more than just one death, but that's the mid lane tower that is far more crucial. They have to protect this tower.
Well, Marin is going to teleport back in, and you're exactly right. They put a lot of priority on this. Imp's going to clear out the minions. Wayless looking to go home as quickly as he can to try and get back into that mid lane. Xiaohu looking to stop those backs as well.
So that was a great look from LGD. Poor execution. Intruder did not get the ulti to really bounce Mata back into his team. So he went in, and he just completely got demolished. And the best thing for RNG was the fact that Looper came down immediately, and his ulti was perfect. And so I was surprised that LGD only lost one person for it. I was also just as surprised that they were able to hold their mid lane tower for it.
Yeah, using the teleport from Marin, of course, so summon a spell taken. But Looper also did use his to get into the fight, like you just said.
So here's the key thing. Even though LGD, they do have a decent, or at least a great scaling composition, they should start to get moving by the time that by the time we see hurricanes coming through on Imp.
Yeah.
And so right now he's at a decent point where he can skirmish, but these skirmishes are at the very least buying time for LGD to start farming once again. So they are a bit behind, but the fact that that mid lane tower is still alive means that these picks are still relevant.
Yeah, and at the moment, Wayless actually farming things out towards the bottom side. Remember, does have the Ignite taken instead of the TP. Yeah, and I don't know whether Imp is going to be enough to defend this turret. They move 3 people over here. Not actually going for any sort of dive or anything like that. Root Intruder turns up, but this tower will fall down. Not a lot of defense there by LGD.
They just weren't able to do so. And so now this is fairly important. RNG can shove in mid, and they do have autonomy. They have a lot of presence on these side jungles. So red side jungle immediately getting pushed in and just warded. And so even though LGD can contest, the fact that they're even in this position is poor altogether.
Yeah, well, look at all this vision now being removed by RNG. Mata and MLXG, the vision removal squad, being dealt with by Wayless at the moment. As Imp now moving himself down. Raptor camp even under contention.
Yeah, see, this is something that I love from RNG. The moment they get these towers, they don't just sit back and use these towers for A, the skirmishes, or B, they don't for the extra time. They know how to use that time. They walk in and immediately deny everything possible. The wards and the camps.
Well, Marin does have his flash, but he's going to have a whole lot of visitors moving towards the top side. Mata in there, dodges the Winter's Bite, which is very good. Throws down the W, avoids a few of these auto attacks, but 1 versus 3, Marin maybe didn't need to flash there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was dead.
Not sure why he flashed, but that seems like the Marin tilt that we've been seeing in a lot of games.
Yeah.
Whenever he finds himself focused a little bit far too out, in terms of the fact that they didn't have the vision. They didn't have anything to really protect Marin for pushing out, but he just pushed out anyways. So he needs to watch out. That's something that's been happening to LGD quite a bit, is if he shoves out a little bit too far, he kind of challenges the enemy team, and of course the enemy team is more than willing to take that challenge.
Well, certainly are, especially when you've got Xiaohu and Mata able to lock him down so effectively. Didn't matter that the Winter's Bite didn't land. They had so much effective CC. Mata finds himself the Q. PWL not going to get anything worse than that.
And a side joke, Mata hitting every Braum Q.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that video going around lately, a lot of disrespect to his Braum.
I was not going to mention it.
He has to feel a little. That's probably why he picked it out. He's like, I got to prove myself.
Yeah, he certainly does.
Give me the Braum.
Well, There he is right now. Pink ward goes down as Wayless looking for Mata. Intruder is here, but it's 3 members of RNG looking to pressure this red buff.
You have to watch out for LGD. You're going up against Braum, Karma, Rek'Sai, the skirmishing force, and that was a perfect ulti.
Yeah, Intruder actually going to get ulted up as well here as Marin's going to turn up. Now a big body running amongst his fighters. Mata flash forward. PWL, huge work in the backline as Looper's going to get locked down. Imp doing so much damage. Here is RNG and now split. LGD low on their health bars though as Uzi's been exhausted. Now LGD
split.
utilizing that as an opportunity to get out of this fight. Glacial Path comes in from Wayless, gets himself out. Imp, nice reposition. Headbutt Pulve comes down and Imp takes down MLXG. It is going to be Marin falling, but Imp is still alive. Looper in trouble. Imp picks up a double. That's a triple kill if we include Mata's death. And this Cogmore's massive now.
Good God. That was a 3 for 3. That was the skirmish that RNG wanted. They were looking for those denials. They were going in. They were challenging because, of course, you have Braum, you have Karma, you have Sivir. You can take that fight, especially if you have the vision advantage.
Yeah.
But LGD, they play that out perfectly. They have the Kog'Maw Imp playing out of his mind in that skirmish, that team fight. Look at the damage on that.
Just insane. Now has himself his Runan's Hurricane as well as another recurve bow. Intruder got himself out with the ultimate, so a big cooldown actually expended for escape.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
Yeah, so he did. That's the vision advantage. That's what it got them. He had to ulti away because they did not have the vision. He was in a poor position. But just look at Imp throughout this entire fight. He was able to output as much damage with the help of PYL, able to just go in and just create as much space as possible. But Looper on a death mission, going in there to help.
Yeah, and then Cathian surprise, unable to get any cute little kills towards the end. But now Imp really setting himself up. He's got so much attack speed, so much AoE spread at the same time. And now level 11, Living Artillery, doing a little bit more work from a lot further away.
Yeah, and we talk about Imp's Kog'Maw quite a bit, but PYL's Alistar really showed its value in that last fight. Able to create a lot of multi-headbutt pulverizes to really get his team going to allow Imp to output that much damage.
Yeah.
So I talk about it as if, Kog'Maw can do that on his own, but yeah, the team to allow him to give that, that space, that pressure.
Yeah. Definitely not all about Imp, but definitely is doing well with what he's given. On the side of RNG, though, you got 100% kill participation for Uzi, whose Sivir is starting to get really, really strong. Another BF sword as well as that Essence Reaver, now building towards what could be his Phantom Dancer, as well as the Infinity Edge. And Imp Living Artillery comes in. Massive knockups as Wayless throws down the ult on himself. Has to flash away though as Intruder's looking for Mata, but doesn't find the kill. Marin now very deep in the backline as Wayless can't offer any more. And Intruder's going to fall. Nice snare from Xiaohu onto Marin as Mata's now looking to single out PYL. Imp now trying to get the damage in. A Cathian surprise might be able to pick up Xiaohu, but he'll have the shield. Gets himself out of the way, and that is a 4-for-0 in favor of RNG.
That was incredibly close. RNG able to zone out Kog'Maw completely or at least partially from that fight. And as you look at him, he knew he couldn't output as much damage. He knew he couldn't put out much pressure. RNG able to, I love Looper's ulti placements. The entire game, every ulti he has placed has definitely meant Imp had to back away.
Well, actually, Looper now looking to pressure away Wayless, who goes down so incredibly low. Flamespitter slightly out of range, but he lands the Harpoon. Teleport's coming in. PYL already in the pit, but MLXG locks it down. Bit of desperation now coming out of LGD as they lose 2 and the Baron.
I mean, this is LGD's skirmish style, and they're being out-skirmished. Looper, I had a little bit of a worry because, he's that low econ player, and he's put on a champion that he has to be the carry, and he's doing it just well.
Yeah, exactly right. Now building towards his Zhonya's Hourglass, already has the Abyssal Scepter, already has the Proto Belt, 30% CDR going to be coming in very soon. And you just saw how much that minion wave melted. Uzi now with his Infinity Edge is so scary. And Xiaohu's got a death cap. Item spikes across the board here for RNG. 13-5 is the kill score and an 8,000 gold lead here at 23 minutes.
LGD do need a miracle, but we've been talking about LGD miracles all week. I mean, for last couple weeks, to be honest. Can they do it? Honestly, my answer, probably not. This game, very difficult. They have to prove me wrong, though. Impress me.
Well, they do have team fight potential. A lot of CC, a lot of engage. And they've got Imp for a lot of damage. He's trying to find his Ginsu's Rage Blade by the looks of things. Unless he just wants a Last Whisper out of necessity. But of course, Kog'Maw does a heck of a lot of magic damage, especially with the Wit's End build. So now he's looking to clean up these minions underneath this turret.
The issue is that LGD, they do have their core item spikes coming out of Kog'Maw, coming out of Lissandra, Shen even. But they just don't have enough tanking power. Marin can't be the sole tank, and Hecarim has his Triforce outright. Without the full-out jungle item, he's just really squishy.
Yeah, does a fair bit of damage, does Intruder, but not much else. And when you don't have any control over your jungle, it's just very difficult to pick up that farm. And that lead is only extending here for RNG, over 10,000 gold, now at 24 minutes. Looking like they're trying to stamp their foot down here in the LPL.
I mean, it's a difficult game. We start out from the beginning of this game. They already lost out in their side towers. You put yourself in a... Oh!
Wow, possible pick here as Xiaohu.
Okay.
That was a very weird interaction.
I've been seeing a few... Oh, my God.
Yeah, MLXG is going to get stunned up at Wayless. Needs to get himself out. No, can't get over the wall. Uses the Frozen Tomb. Has the Zhonya's, but can't get it off. And PYL now just flashed on by Mata. Uzi easily able to pick up that kill, and that's 2 swift ones for RNG, and they want more.
We see Rumble players who we applaud if they get that one key ulti. That one key Rumble ulti, but he has been doing it every time it's off cooldown.
Yeah, Lupa's Rumble has been fantastic this game. It's now going to equal an inhibitor here for RNG in game number 1. LGD on the ropes at this stage. Hip does fall. Mata now in trouble as Imp's able to get free damage. Uzi off to the side, but Winter's Bite onto Intruder spells his death.
Goodbye.
And Lupa now flanking here for his team. Imp has to run out of the way. Now all of these turrets under fire.
I mean, Intruder has to understand his role this game, because if you are losing towers, especially if you're in a lane swap, you don't get the opportunity to farm out that much. You just can't go full Triforce. You can't go full damage unless if you really are confident in your skirmishes. Perhaps they were. Perhaps that's why he went that route. But especially once they started losing those skirmishes, you don't keep going down that path. Get the Phage, get the Sheen, sit on it.
Yeah. Well, right now he's in the death chamber, able to have a long, hard think about what went wrong. Mara moving over, trying to deal with these creeps now moving down the mid lane. Intruder going to help out. And now LGD on massive defense mode. This bottom inhibitor turret in trouble, but RNG just had so much money in their back pocket. 13,000 gold. They go back, spend a whole bunch of it. It's going to be a Void Staff out right there for Xiaohu. You got Zhonya's complete as well as a needlessly large rod for Lupa. He's gigantic. Yeah. Randuin's Omen comes in for MLXG, and you got Phantom Dancer QSS completed for Uzi. This is disaster for LGD, but so clean from RNG, even from minute 1.
Yeah, and usually I would turn to Imp and say, well, here you are, hard carry. He did that last time. I mean, but the problem is he can't even touch Rek'Sai alone. Rek'Sai is right now coming out with a massive amount of armor, a massive amount of just the damage reduction on his Randuins. So if Imp ever tries to look to challenge him, sure, maybe he can. Maybe he can take down MLXG. It'll take a long time. And during that time, RNG will have already obliterated Intruder and Mart. Tank line gone. So
yeah,
it really feels like RNG need to be the one making the mistakes here.
Well, you can see wave cleared out. RNG thinking about a dive here by the looks. Just want to clear out these minions as quickly as possible. Gosh, those ricochets doing so much work. As you can see, PWL's health bar is low because of 2 of them.
Here comes the wave. This tower is already so far gone. And a super minion from the mid lane is coming in to challenge the Nexus. This is gone.
Well, there's the equalizer, and RNG are going to use it to take down the turret. Marin actually looking for more as LGD are thinking about an engage. PWL gets a pulverize, but it's only onto MLXG as Imp trying to get damage in the backline. Zhonya's comes in for Lupa as Imp is trying to clean him up. We'll see whether he can. Wayless, decent ultimate there in the backline, but now he has to try and run away from Uzi, who flashes on top of him. Good Zhonya's, and Uzi's in trouble. Big knockup comes in. Imp takes down Mata, and then gets flashed on by MLXG, but he's kiting around. Marin is going to go down, and MLXG now has got on top of the Kog'Maw. He is going to fall down. It was a valiant effort, but LGD's members are melting now in the hands of RNG. Intruder and Wayless left to clean up this base, but the inhibitors are not long for the world.
I mean, this could have been game. Perhaps it still is, but UZI went far too forward. He felt like he was the tank this game. Completely got zoned out. Fight's still going.
Most certainly is. 3 versus 3. So of course, it was an even fight in the end, but all of the pressure going to RNG. Looper using that teleport gets himself back in with full health.
Mata played incredibly well that fight. His exhaust really mitigated about 70% of, like, so much of Lissandra's damage. Look at Lissandra's damage in that last fight. He outputted his entire rotation of spells. Didn't do much. The exhaust coming out from Mata really mitigated his damage. And on top of that, the Braum shield really made Imp feel not as useful as he would want to be.
Yeah, couldn't really get much done as Wayless in trouble now as MLXG's found him. He's got a red buff just slowing the Lissandra to high heaven. Throws down the Frozen Tomb. We'll get a bit of health back, but doesn't have a flash. Circle of Frost is in there, but he just tunnels underneath.
I'm surprised he had mana for an E.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen as PYL's able to take down Mata, but Xiaohu's going to find him. Teleport's coming in now for LGD as Marin wants to turn up, but Uzi just takes down the cow. Marin now in an unfortunate position is going to get tethered, and MLXG finds a flank on the backside. Imp gets destroyed by the equalizer. Double kill comes down for Uzi, and RNG just clean up LGD.
I'm telling you, Looper's playing this champion like an assassin. I don't understand it. He's playing out of his mind. Looper right now impressed me. He has to be MVP. I'm just saying it right now.
Well, we're going to be getting to it as RNG are cleaning up Nexus turrets. The Nexus now under fire. 23-8 is the kill score. 15,000 gold lead. And it seems like our MSI representatives are back to play here in Week 10.
Yeah, they really are. We were questioning RNG. They had a few interesting losses, to say the least, up against OMG.
Yeah.
And especially WE. But now they're coming in, and they challenge LGD at their game.
They do, and they play it out so incredibly beautifully as well. It just looked like the gold lead was starting passively from minute 1 that game. They were just benefiting from map movements better. Of course, there were interesting decisions made by LGD in the early game as far as sharing turret gold was concerned, trying to get Imp to a powerful stage as quickly as possible. But this was a good fight for LGD. Just unfortunately, it was still just even.
Yeah, so even though LGD, they're not at their power spikes here, but they are playing incredibly well. Issue is that RNG did get the vision first. Hecarim did have to expend ulti to get out of this. So regardless of how well Imp played in this fight, regardless of how well PYL played in this fight, they still end up getting burned alive by Looper.
Yeah, Looper was just so massive. And this Rumble is going to be a massively contested pick as the team fights just went on and on this game.
And look at Imp's pressure. He was zoned to be behind this wall, not able to really come in and help his team because Rumble ulti, time and time again, became the deciding factor for RNG.
Yeah, and then the flash engages came down. Imp tried to do what he could, but just wasn't enough. And RNG were juggling the aggro, positioning themselves so effectively. That's how that worked.
I was wondering, I was like, was that Hecarim? Like, I feel like you just don't go that far off with Hecarim.
That was unfortunately PYL.
Yeah.
Wayless can't get over the wall with the Glacial Path and just falls down. It was just pick after pick as far as this mid-game was concerned, and it just felt like LGD fell apart at the seams after that first team fight loss, unfortunately, on the bottom side of the map.
It really just comes back to the towers, right? It really starts from the very beginning that LGD needed to keep their towers alive, but the moment they died out, the moment mid lane tower went down, these disadvantageous fights kept going on.
They most certainly did, but ladies and gentlemen, we are going to throw it to a short break. When we get back, we'll see whether LGD can fight back against a reinvigorated RNG.